lot more than if you treat somebody like crap. So
Hmm.
definitely something to
Not
it.
necessarily. If you're too nice to people, they will be really resistant to it.
Hmm.
Sometimes people respond with like contempt, depending
Well,
on
there's
how nice
fake
you are.
nice and authentic nice. I think
Canada
that's
Yeah, I
knows.
think that's a big
Canada
part
has
of it.
Eskimo. Inuit have 50 words for snow. Canada has at least a dozen words for nice. Different kinds. So
When you look
you
at all
gotta
those
see
Nazi
through it.
babies, right? Like that they just like grew up in incubators. They didn't have a mother like showing them any love. A lot of those babies just died because they didn't get
Yeah.
any human touch or anything. I'm kind of talking about that.
Yeah.
Like if you have children, you don't show them love. They tend to be a little. It doesn't work
I
out well for
agree.
them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember watching a documentary
just-
on those kids from Eastern Europe being transferred to foster homes and struggling their entire lives to accept the fact that somebody else out there cares enough for them to give them a roof over the head and concern about their day-to-day inner existence. They couldn't handle it.
So what about the power of intention then? So, there's this idea also that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and we've got these intentions installed maybe through these fields, these behavioral fields. We learn how to behave a certain way, and then that's part of, we think that's attached to our intention, but they're different. We have an intention, then we have a response. So the intention leads to responses, which might not lead to positive outcome. And, maybe we're doing this to each other. We're installing, it's almost like witchcraft. We're hexing each other with these ideas or these thoughts or even these ways of using speech that are causing outcomes that are different than their intentions.
Well, there's like conscious intentions, unconscious intentions. It gets very psychoanalytic quick. People could live a certain way and think they're doing the right thing. Like the road to hell with good intentions, I think tends to be like ignorance can, when you're not seeing something with clarity, basically it can really make feedback loops that aren't ideal. I mean, I'm sure those Nazi, incubator babies, they were trying to make a superior race. Like their intention was, aimed, I guess, but it didn't quite work.
Well, and
There's
what
a lot
was
of
their
ins and outs.
definition of superior, too?
Yeah,
Right. This kind of reminds me of another Canadian story. The Canadian arrests of a teen over terrorism allegations and cites the FBI intelligence. So, I mean, it's always the same story, though. It's a kid who's been kind of isolated from his local community who got on the internet and through YouTube and some of these websites is radicalized. Would you like to know more videos? And I mean, it's kind of strange, right? Because he probably talks about God a lot, has a lot of love in his heart for God or something. And then it's turned into this militarized nightmare. I mean, it's, again, the power of intention and the power of unconscious motivation, you're saying.
This person, though, in this experiment, in this example, is rather isolated, too, though.
Incubated, dare we say.
Yeah. Okay.
Incubated.
Yeah.
Incubated.
So it does not have an environment, a natural environment that is able to at least proactively reflect back on him his natural inclination for that expressive love that he has for God, which if he were able to have the understanding that God is in everything, God is the all, then God is able to then reflect that love back to him in a natural environment. So the more the isolated an individual is, the more maladaptive potentially they can become or manipulated they can become.
But the Amish make such good jellies.
They also give themselves Rumspraga so they can get out there and experience,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So
some incubators don't fail, I guess.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't call that an incubator. They're just
Right.
Isolated from like general society, but they have families and strong.
They still have conversations with people to pass through. That's right.
They're
Yeah.
still
Yeah,
The
I
movie
think
Witness, we've seen that movie, right? So they get into fist fights every now and again.
That's the difference, because a colony or something like that, where they're living in an autonomous society inside of another society, is still different than an incubator, which is producing something that's to be released later. And so releasing a bunch of these chicks and hatching them into our society and then hoping that they'll better society. I mean, that's kind of what a lot of our goals have been, saying, oh, society's breaking down. We should isolate ourselves from society, incubate another generation that'll have better solutions.
The Noah method.
Yeah.
Get on the boat and let it die or whatever.
And ignore it until it fades away, right? But I mean, so it's hard to say that that's not the right thing to do.
An extreme option.
Well, the difference is there's no Amish car bombings or cart bombings, carriage bombings yet. They're not going around blowing up their carts. I think they're
The
just
getaway method is problematic.
they're just standing around waiting for a cloud.
Yeah.
When COVID hit, you had to imagine how weird it was for the Amish. They're like, "Told you so." I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's right. Their response was, "We're good."
Yeah, exactly what we expected.
Yep.
That's what. I don't know. Also, there's the Polesia Plague Island. This is not in Canada, but you guys have Q Camp X, right? The Q's Camp X in Canada, which is similar to this idea. There's a small island less than a half a mile from Venice. It's a forbidden island with a dark and twisted past. This was constructed by the Venetian government and used as a plague quarantine station, but had also been used to develop strains of plague that could be used in warfare. And so it's major haunted. This whole idea of creating a thing that could be A, to save people from the plague, right? And then B, to weaponize the plague. It seems kind of familiar today, not just to stuff in the United States, but Canadian biosafety standards. The what's it called? There's an organization, I forget the name of the bio agency for Canada, but they build a number of these plants all around the world, not just in Canada, in order to experiment on different strains of tuberculosis or different viruses in order to make sure that we're safe, right? That's the explanation. But how close is this to getting ready for, even if COVID's not created on the Polesia Plague Island, how close are we to just making it possible for that to happen?
Are you talking about Winnipeg's biolab and like where they actually did have the cove?
Thanks so much for being Canadian enough to remember the Canadian scientist that sent the virus to Wuhan, right? Because it wasn't in DC.
Yeah, it was leaked. It was the RCMP caught 2 Chinese, I guess, worker students carrying the original COVID virus back from the Winnipeg lab. It was documented in 2018 or something, 2016 maybe.
Bummer. I didn't know about that. Like, what? That's ridiculous. Talking about like friends with benefits,
These are
I guess.
Canadian facts.
Narlar. Like,
Nice.
what?
I mean, yeah, it seems like we've ramped up civilization to destroy itself with the promise of protecting it. You know, we're making sure that we aren't going to get this virus. How? By having this virus and experimenting on this virus and making a stronger virus. It's how close
It's
are we
twisted.
how close are we to the end because of this, you know?
I mean, and
Well-
everything we do around it too. Like that was the whole thing when it comes to, you know, the solution to it is, you know, we're going to protect ourselves from it by, you know, not just exposing ourselves to it, but like creating it from within. What?
It sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah.
My theory with this is that, like,
Yeah.
okay, so it's in scales, right? So 9/11, at least in America, obviously was something where it's like the enemy is knowable as a terrorist cell, whatever, fight the cell at that level, whatever logic you want to play with that. And then it's gone to from an as without, so within. So it's like you are now the terrorist cell and you have to isolate, whatever, incubate, however you want to put this. And it's a new type of psychological warfare. And I don't know about y'all in Canada, but a lot of Americans, I don't think, have reintegrated very well. I think we all kind of eye each other suspiciously at some subconscious level, just because of all the conditioning over the past few years.
I'm suspicious of all of you guys for sure.
That might be a gene. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, failed integration is interesting because we do live in a society where there are multiple ways of looking at every word, and that's enough to create 4 different stations run by the same corporation, you know, to explain the same thing differently, so that people all kind of can deal with what's going on. So we don't know what's going on. Simon should be in here. What? I know there's a lot of people now, Simon, but you're Canadian, so you should have been here. I'm sorry.
Is there room for Simon? Yeah. Shit.
You can try if you want.
So just as Jim mentioned it, I just
That's
want to
for
point
science.
out again, you said terrorist cell, and now it evolved into, you could call it cancer cell, or maybe, you know, it's your spike protein cell, whatever. But even here you can see how the meme has been built up for a very long time. And I tend to suggest that just that it has been a scam overall, it continues to be. But also that, of course, from the point of view of certain, let's say, controller factions, of course, all the humans are the terrorists, you know? All living empathic beings are seen as the
Free
terrorists, you
beings
know?
are sketchy.
Why are they not pushing the monk cell more? I mean, everyone talks about tiny homes, but the monk cell, it seems like that's the future. You know, this is the future they want. I don't see bugs. Are there bugs in there?
You know, wait a minute. Andreas, that's like an amazing point to make, because as a Vaishnava who was raised Episcopalian, went through folkloric witchcraft, not Wicca, but then came to Hinduism. We have ashrams around, and these monks, both
Right.
women and men, are very knowledgeable in the powers of the earth, the intrinsic powers of the earth, which is one of the reasons why they built the temples, to preserve the portals.
I mean, up until Airbnb, I only stayed in ashrams, and I still think I probably stayed as many ashrams as Airbnbs or couch surfing events. I mean, it's so much better when you go to Brazil and you're on a bus. You meet some guy who's in a local ashram, and then they take you in. There's organic food. Everyone's safe because they're all part of this community.
And they have a cohesive mind as to how to save the species, and that's one of the reasons why, as Fae, we're waiting for people to catch up, because this is the way society and civilization is going to persist. And we've got God the fuck knows, Goddess the fuck knows how long it's going to be till there's another cataclysm that we have no control.
Yeah.
Well, we might have control. That was the next thought. Have you guys seen that movie?
Like it's every 12,000 years, and they went into great detail to build these sky calendars showing us this shit. And
you guys remember that movie? You guys ever
Nausicaa?
see Nausicaa? Yeah, Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind.
I think
right?
it's the very first Ghibli film.
It's
possibly.
To be fair, it was produced by what's his name from the Bilderberg Foundation, Karl Bernhardt, right? From the Teutonic Knights and the Black Nobility, and so he created the world.
I'll do this one nice thing for everybody. We'll do a nice cartoon, but then I won't do anything else. Yeah.
Well, but no, I mean, remember what this is about. Not only are we looking at the origins of Pikachu, right?
Micro.
The pocket monster that comes from Ghibli, right? But the idea, where does this come from? So they're living in this post-reset civilization. It says that after maybe it's been 1,000 years now since the fall of the 20th or 21st century, all these genetically modified super weapons that are partially alive have destroyed the earth. There's mushroom fungus that kills everything everywhere, and it eats all the oxygen, so people die, except for in these small colonies, which are very much like after the plague in the Dark Ages and Middle Ages in certain places, where there were religious colonies. And this character is the only character that seems to communicate with nature and isn't afraid of nature, because there's no way to beat it. At some point you have to recognize that these things, these giant, the omnus, these giant bugs that they're like ticks, but they're the size of malls, they're going to get their way. So you have to live with society, you have to live with nature. You can't work against nature. I mean, it's true in a lot of ways, but it's also interesting because it's this eco-propaganda from the Bilderberg Foundation, and it's one of the first worldwide animes that was seen by everybody, right? In the Soviet Union, in the United States, right? I think, oh my God, isn't Gwyneth Paltrow in the dubbing of this, Mark? Pretty sure.
No idea, dude. I don't follow her like that. Just her candle. I love her candle.
Just the scent.
I'm just checking on it. Yeah, I think she did. That's crazy. She did the dubbing for Nausicaa. That's a random sync.
Wow.
We just talked
First her voice, then her
That's
scent.
some synchronicity right there.
Dude, that's crazy right
there.
there.
You reminisce of the scent.
Well, okay. In terms of the what was the last thing we just went on? We did the border crossing, ferries. Anybody got anything else they want to make sure we cover?
I did, but I'm a Canadian pothead, so I suffer from short-term memory loss. And,
there was an RCMP story I wanted to look at really quickly. Where was that? Basically, the RCMP is going around trying to record everybody's phone calls. You guys have a Patriot Act that's happening right now through cell phones, and the RCMP.
That's called Stingray technology, and they've been doing that for at least a decade.
Right, but what's messed up is that the servers they had were Chinese, and the Chinese government has copies of all of the cell phone records of every Canadian citizen for like the last decade now.
Fuck, y'all.
In French and English.
So does Google, so does Microsoft, so does Amazon, so does freaking all the corp. So
I'm not.
Probably Bing.
I'm not sure to what extent you discussed this, but there was also some talk about like even Chinese military in Canada and stuff with the ports and so on. But already I heard about it a year ago, but certainly that the Chinese, you know, are much more around than one would guess, but I don't know how obvious it is or not. I mean, I guess here it becomes obvious that they're intertwined.
Yeah, and there was election
This is
interference.
really
and-
interesting. This is really interesting because, all right, even though I'm a Fae, I come from a military family. My father was in the 5th Air Force.
I could see that tying together, actually.
You know, the weird thing is that
Get your wings any way you can. Yeah.
you know, he was in the 5th Air Force, which is the first point of the armed forces bifurcating, meaning branching apart from the Army to the Air Force. He was also cleared 5th level up, which means eyes only, top secret, above top secret. And he never, ever fucking spoke about his experiences, ever. But when he was dating my mother, my future mom, they were abducted. And this is like in the early 50s, okay? The end of the war with the cleanup was 47. That was when the saucers came. They shot them down, okay? Next, he gets married in 52, has my brother in 54, I'm in 57, which was the biggest year for birth in the baby boom was 1957. So I've got all of this shit inculcated within me, and I've got a father who can talk, you know, about his experiences. But he did convey to me that my mother and him were taken by a sphere. Now, the sphere itself came up out of the ground. And if you listen to the granddaughter of Arnold Palmer, who is the one who first reported saucers, which is why we get the name Flying Saucers, she does not, Chantel is her name. She doesn't believe that they're extraterrestrial. She believes that they are an agency or an entity that has existed on Earth before humans.
It's interesting when you think about Arthur C. Clarke, because his original, before 2001, when he wrote Sentinel, he didn't have monoliths in the book. It was these spheroids, you know, the giant spheroids in the sky. And the monolith is, you know, the same framage as the 70 millimeter film. So the idea that the spheroid's replaced or its first contact is through media or technology, so through the cell phone, through the TV, through the screen, something like that. But
exactly,
is real.
Exactly. And they themselves were a life form. Yes.
That's interesting. That kind of gets into the UFO Eno 2,000, 8,000 people thing, you know what I'm talking about? So today is the day. I've been talking about this for a few days now, but Eno Alaric on TikTok, so you know it's for real, said that UFOs are coming and they're going to get you this spring, March 23rd, right?
Today.
So what do you think? Today, right now. It's supposed to be in theaters now. So is this happening?
I guess that's why we're talking to Walter Bosley next, and they
Right.
scientists.
It's true. We got another show after this, so this will be our last subject. Is there any thoughts you guys have on Grindr or aliens? Any thoughts you have on either of those subjects? Probably aliens.
Alien Grinder.
I don't know why that would be the trending slang explored. Weird. Is that what it has to do with UFOs? Probably they're connected concepts. I can't be sure. But I mean, if aliens are coming, or if there's some sort of future alien that's actually super soldiers from the past, or whatever the deal is that it's supposed to be today? Is there anything going on that you think could be?
Trying to answer.
Do you think there's anything connected that's actually what's going on today that we could associate with, UFOs, or do we have to type in balloon?
Well, Andreas, just like you usually do, see what usually happens on that day. You know?
For today. Today is the day.
Yes, but historically, or in our modern Gregorian calendar, locked
That's
up
what
in
I'm.
key
Oh, of
at the
course,
Vatican,
of course,
you know?
of course.
You mentioned that last time,
Day
and
in
it's a smart
history.
idea, yeah.
It's important. It's an important point. Yeah. So why is
This
March?
day in history. Yeah.
A good point. You know what? Do that again. Do you want to try to read this? I'll make it bigger.
March 23rd. This day in history.
The Tran dynasty is deposed in 1400. Waltham Abbey surrenders to Henry VIII, 1568. The Peace of Longjumeau is signed. Second phase of the French Wars. American Revolutionary War.
Give me
Patrick Henry
liberty or
delivers-
give me death.
That seems pretty good. That could be some.
Hey, that's a hit.
Tsar First of Russia is struck with a sword. Louisiana Purchase, Lewis and Clark, their Corps of Discovery begins. Okay. That could be something. The Corps of Discovery. That seems like a thing on the return. Massive earthquake, Greek War of Independence.
Kalamata Olive War Field.
So delicious. Worth it.
The Organic Act is signed in
So how many people are supposed to go
1868.
missing? 8,000?
8,000 people supposed to be gone right now.
Do you know that it's estimated that 2,300 children are missing every day?
Yeah.
That's gnarly.
So, I mean, you could have 8,000 people go missing, and that's just a regular day.
True. Yeah, we wouldn't even notice it. That's the thing with X Day for the Subgenius, right? Subgenius. They said that in 1998 that there would be this major X Day, and that would be the beginning of Slack. And a lot of people said, "Oh, you're crazy," right? But there has been a lot of changes in society that are subtle since 1998, enough that we live in a completely different lifestyle than we did in 1998. We can talk to each other instantly. We're doing this right now. I mean, this is a lot weirder than we give it credit for. Maybe we are living in this sort of post iPod, the iPod being HAL 2001 kind of monolith, and we're living in that period. Maybe there is something coming. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like there's something coming?
I think it's already here.
Yeah,
Right.
it's already here, but it's coming from us. I'm not waiting for them.
Well, I hope that July 2nd to 8th, we'll do another X Day, and then we can, kind of get like up to date on what's happening. I'm going to start to shut this down because we're doing another one. This is going to be the shorter one, but let me start to pull up some of your content. BalancedBlackwood.com, Instagram, Stephanie. What did I type in again? Didn't show up. Send me your links.
Okay.
Right.
I will say that, I don't think it's intentions that pave the road to hell. I think it's our attachment to intentions. That's the key to manifesting, is putting your intention out there and then surrendering to whatever comes, knowing that if it doesn't show up the way you expect it to, you are to expect something greater. And that's why you didn't get what you asked for, because something better and greater is on its way. So yeah, road to hell isn't paved with good intentions. It's paved with our attachment to our intentions.
I agree with that. Jeremy jumped in.
Thank you for that. I like that.
Jeremy, do you have thoughts on the alien thing? We're probably gonna get into that with Bosley in a minute, but what are your thoughts on all that?
I think that everybody should smash that like button if they haven't done so already.
Thank you for everyone saying it for me. I always feel like grifting. I feel like I ought to be grifting. So thank you for helping me. It's important.
Yeah, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Become a member. Sign up, everybody. This is important.
Self-drift. You have to have your friends do it and your guests.
You can send, maybe you don't have a lot of money. Maybe all you have is like your grandfather's heirloom watch, and you can just like take a photo of it and send it in the PO box with like "I love you." We'll take any. We don't. It doesn't have to be money. We just appreciate you and thank you.
That's some good intention right there.
Good intentions, and that everybody can always go live now by hitting that live in the top right corner if you are StreamYard, and it also connects to your YouTube and Facebook and Twitter accounts. It's pretty epic. So, but we'll see you over at Walter Bosley.
Yeah. Also, make sure that you subscribe to all of our wonderful guests. Stephanie Scott, this is her Instagram. She has amazing art, and I definitely expect you to be checking back on some of the stuff she's doing. Look a little deeper. You know what I'm saying? Oh. Exactly.
I have a lot in the works, too, that will eventually be making its way onto there.
You can buy some of her stuff from the link tree as well. Go to the shop and buy some of the amazing stuff that she does. And then, of course, make sure you're subscribed. Look, she was in a magazine. How cool is that? Go to Alien
magazine.
Dude, keep it local. Alien Scientist, Jeremy Reese, you showed up last minute, but make sure you guys check him out because he's the most amazing information on UFOs, aliens, advanced technology, declassified military tech, some stuff that hasn't been declassified yet. He's just figured out what it's about. So make sure you go there. And then Balance Blackwood, like I said, for the holistic care. Sign up for her newsletter. And when you do, make sure you click on that little button that says you found her through Exertus, because that makes me feel cool. Subscribe to Raphael's Act Like You Know 26. He's got amazing videos with David Ewing Jr., some of the most important conversations you'll ever find, also with Team Rabbit Hole, which they're on the live section here. If you're interested in Team Rabbit Hole, go to teamrabbithole.com, where you can find out about the more recent episodes. There's just crazy stuff that Jim and Raph is putting out. Amazing interviews that are deeper and better than other interviews. It's my favorite interview channel is Team Rabbit Hole. So
You've been on there like 5 or 6 times.
Well, that's another reason I love it so much. But no, it's not just because of that. I swear. It's really just great. Let's do it again soon, by the way. That sounds like fun.
Definitely.
American Time Machine, Kurt, the man with the most amazing music. I hope everyone has already gotten a copy of his album, but you need to get in here and listen to Meditations in Winter, particularly to the most esoteric shit you've ever heard. But nice. Birds is good. I mean, it's just great. Bambience has been growing on me a lot. I like Bambience a lot. So, am I missing anybody? Pink Trip. The beautiful Mark. Make sure that you subscribe to Pink Trip. You have to watch all of his videos. He just did the most amazing conversation sequel with Alex Jones. And if you didn't think that God, it's just so good. And it's so well produced. And you did it at the InfoWars studio. And just, I'm so proud of you, bro. Like, this is great.
Oh, thanks, man. Oh, I just got here. We're already ending the damn show. Jesus, man.
Yeah, I know. It was an hour thing, but we're going to do another one. So don't worry. It's not the end it's just the beginning.
I feel insulted.
Well, Mr.
Cool to be around with you guys. This is a wonderful thing to stumble into. Thank you for the invite. Thank you for everybody.
One of the 8,000. I'm kidding. We've been abducted. This is it.
Yeah.
Made it.
God, if we could do hour-long episodes, I wonder if people would like that more or be more upset. We'll see. But Ingo Swann is so interesting. And if you really want to hear it for real, you got to go to MrDouglas.com, where you can find out the Secrets of Power audiobook series was created perfectly, just meticulously done by our dear friend Mr. Douglas. So make sure you go to MrDouglas.com and also subscribe to his channel, and make sure that you go to Darth Call's channel, because he does a show, I think, later tonight. Darth Call.
That looks like not tonight. Hopefully next week. Darth Call is still recalibrating.
Epic. Well, we love Darth Call. I want to see him on here soon again. And I know he's doing amazing Twitch streams, but you can watch all of the Better Call episodes with Mr. Douglas and Call right here on Darth Call. So subscribe. All right. I think I did a pretty good job. Bernie,
you are fantastic, Andreas. Thank you.
Crypto Alchemist. I almost forgot Crypto Alchemist. Make sure you subscribe to Bernie.
How dare you?
Yeah.
We're going live with Walter Bosley, Certus, and Jeremy Reese, the alien scientists, next. Going over the UFO UAP phenomenon.
Yeah,
I'm never going to Canada. You guys got to get rid of Justin Trudeau. Maybe I'll
It's
go
going to be
Canada.
weird when you wake up in Canada in an ice bath, and it's warmer in the ice bath than in Canada, but you're still missing your kidneys. Anyway, I love you all. I'll see you soon. God bless you.
Canada is a country. Waves of people came to this country, were welcomed by the folks who lived here for millennia, the First Nation. And built this society with waves of people fleeing religious persecution, fleeing tyranny, fleeing to try and build a better life for themselves here than they had back home. Whether it's folks fleeing from world wars or fleeing from civil wars, these people always want the same thing: to be able to live in peace, to raise their families, to create a better future for themselves and their communities. And that is what generations created this extraordinary diverse society we have. Now, Canada remains one of the only countries in the world where citizens are, by and large, positively inclined. And one of the reasons we are that way is because Canadians have confidence in our